All things political and civic engagement with Brother Jimmy Smalls, who is the chairperson of the Muslim League of Voters. And so we did want to just jump right into language, right? Because we know every field of interest has its language. And so we know there are some terms that people use that maybe deter people from getting into politics or community civic engagement. So maybe we could dispel some of these things and just get some clarification. One of the terms that come to mind is quid pro quo.
You do for me and I'll do for you. That's what that means. That was one of the first things they taught me at Workers in Political Science. There's a perfect example of it right now. They're trying to do a quid pro quo right now to get the federal government to be open. So the Republicans want something, the Democrats want something, so they're gonna have to come up with a way to settle that. So it's just, you do for me, I do for you. That's what it basically means.
Other one is all politics is local.
All politics are local. People, right now, the media is very, very not good on what they do. Some things locally, because we have a gubernatorial race here in New Jersey. New York City has a mayoral race. But for the most part, they want to cover the 2026 election and 2028 election. But if you have a pothole, are you going to call the President of the United States to come and fix it? If you have a parking situation, are you going to call the governor to come fix it? So those are why I think all politics are local. Many of your politicians have worked their way up from being a council person, school board member, that sort of thing. That's how I got to be a city councilman. I was block association president. I then was school board president, but then I got appointed, and I was asked to run to be council person, and I won. Well, they didn't want me to stay on the school board too much because I ran my mouth too much. But so politics is always local because your concerns start here, and sometimes they work their way all the way up to the Supreme Court if it's something legal like that. But issues such as what's going on in schools, because there's a big issue right now in some of the schools here locally. So you won't go to the person that's a governor or a president, or even a mayor sometimes. You're going to go to that agency that handles it because it's a local issue, and that's where it can be resolved. And so that's my best answer I can give.
That's good. The last one I had is pay to play.
Pay to play, kind of like quid pro quo. Now, if you we have a lot of construction going on in this region of the country. So in order to get your construction project completed, you might want to give a substantial donation to a campaign, or substantial donation to something going on in the city. It's not illegal. You're not giving people money to say, but you are giving them a way to get their project done.
Okay. So these terms that we hear that's thrown around, sometimes people use that to not be involved.
Just because the way it's sometimes put out there, they make these terminologies that you just said seem bad. But right now, I would love to see a quid pro quo down in Washington because there's so many people out of work. And I would love to see pay to play as long as it's legal, as long as they're not trying to pay somebody off. As I mentioned, that I use the dog catcher term as something like that. That's what pay to play is. It means giving like a donation to something, and that sometimes will speed up you getting your project done. And it's not illegal, and it's not unethical as well.
Now, in regards to community concerns, as Muslims, how have you experienced over the last, I guess, for over 40 years? Clearly, you've been into politics, but how have you seen the issues of Muslims campaigning? Does it vary depending on the culture of the Muslim, or how would you?
It does vary from community to community. Since you mentioned that, New Jersey has the most Muslim elected and appointed officials than any of the other 50 states. Back when I was first getting involved, we had like 10 to 15. Now it's at least 50. Um, just to name a few people, like Cynthia Brown, she was the first Muslim city clerk in East Orange, New Jersey. She still serves there. Um, Ali Chowdhury was the first Muslim mayor out in Basking Ridge. Wayne Smith was the first Muslim mayor in Irvington. So yeah, it is important that we know what we're doing and who we are having in elected offices, in appointed offices as well.
Where do you see here in Newark where we could be more civically engaged? I know we have our dear sister running for Central Ward District Council, and I'm sure there are others that are in the political arena.
Well, we need to get, if she works hard, she'll get elected. I'm saying Newark, New Jersey should have had a Muslim elected official long before people like myself. I was elected in 1993. Bilal was elected. Bilal Beasley, the founder of Muslim League of Voters, was elected in the 1980s. Fahima El-Amin in Plainfield, New Jersey, she was the first Muslim sister to get elected. So I just feel the people need to make sure Newark gets an elected official as well. It took a long time, but 30 or 40 years ago for the people I just named, so it's about time for Newark. Newark has had a lot of officials, political officials, but never one that's been elected. So we have to also do that. And not just here in New Jersey, yes, but other places as well, because we have Congress people, and the only one I haven't met is the young lady from California, but I've met Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Keith Ellison, and Carson. They're all good brothers and sisters, really. And don't go by what the media says about them. They're nothing like how they describe them. And be careful the media as well, because they have a tendency to flip things or steer things the way they want.
Yeah, that's why we're happy to get into the media space to shake it up just a little bit. We're going to take a quick break, commercial break for our dear brothers. We'll do a quick commercial, and then we'll be back with a few more questions before we close out. Nishan, you ready? All right, come on up. Bring on your products. As you all who've been following us here, we try to promote, yes, community engagement, learning, but we also want economic justice as well. So our dear brother Nishan is going to share with us a few products that we have here for sale at the masjid.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we have the true detergent for $20. It's 4 times concentrated and it's halal. It removes dirt, brighten fabrics, and leave a fresh, clean scent when you finish washing your clothes. And we also have the Muslim Journal for $20 also.
$20 for the Muslim Journal? Newspaper? $3.
Oh, $3 for the Muslim Journal. And our own 50th anniversary, 50 years of excellence and leadership of the Imam Wahdi Muhammad coin that we made up, which is $20. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Alaikum assalam. Good to be here. So, let's talk about real quick, I guess the importance of political involvement because of economic development as well. Can you talk about the relationship between community development and economic development when it comes to political involvement?
Sure. I mentioned the zoning board is the person that's going to decide where something is built. Once if they vote yes, the next thing you're going to know is how that building is built and what's in it. Now, if we don't, as Muslims, know how to navigate the planning and zoning boards, because in some places the planning board and the zoning board are the same thing, usually in smaller locations. But if you can get, usually you can get through the zoning board, you can get through the planning board without a problem. If, in order to get these things built in economic development, you gotta know that. You may have also at your local level, community development block grants. I know at the federal level, they're talking about cutting them out. But unless that happens, that's the way to get some money. You need to also, I talked about unity without uniformity before, there's another way. Work together. You can pool your money, and then you get something built. I know another thing, I'm on the library board in the town where I live at, and, we're trying to get a new branch library, but at the same time, what you could do is someone may need an office building. So what they could do is the library board, which I'm president, so, and some economic entity that wants to build something, the library can go into that building. Also, I'll use an example that I like. Master Salauti in Paterson, New Jersey. They have a masjid. They also have a community center where they work hand in hand with local politicians and others. But what they also have is a fast food restaurant right next to the masjid, which helps bring in money, which can also, that money can be put out back into the community, which can help build other things. And that's how I look at it as well. And I'll say this, and some people may disagree with me on this. I don't know if it's called the same thing in other places. Pilots, payments in lieu of taxes. We need to shy away from those as much as possible, because let's say a building or some kind of entity needs to be paying $100,000 a year in taxes. But if they get a pilot, they may only have to pay $5,000 or $10,000. But if you can't get rid of that system, then Muslims need to take advantage of it as well. And that way they can get some things built also. I recall many years ago, former imam of this masjid was able to get some housing built right around the corner. And the mayor at that time was Sharp James, and he was very proud of Masjid Muhammad Nur, because he said we need some infill housing. And this was some vacant lots that sat there for years, but Masjid Muhammad Nur figured out a way to go through all of that and get some buildings built, some nice houses right around the corner.
Absolutely, we look to do it again. Last question we have is, maybe can you dispel this myth of Muslims trying to create this government in the government, this Sharia law, ban, all this stuff that people try to throw out there in media?
If you get rid of that, that's like saying you can't practice your religion. Sharia law is something within us as Muslims. So what they're saying is something that's totally irrelevant, because if you do that, there's things that are about Jewish people, you have to tell them to get rid of it. If there's things that happen with our Christian brothers and sisters, same thing. Buddhists, the Sikh people, all of them would have to get rid of many things that they decide. Now, what a lot of Muslims do wrong here is that this is a two-party system as a democracy. Many of our brothers and sisters come from other places where the democracy is more plural, meaning there's more parties that are part of it. But here, you have to work, it's either going to be Republicans and Democrats. Very, very rarely does anyone else from any other party, third party, ever get elected. And they should also get away from the idea of not voting, because they're saying both parties are not the same. I'm back to the belief that the lesser of two evils is who you should vote for, and that's a fact. Because if you get some people in there that are corrupt, you're going to lose a whole lot of things in your community. We talk about economic growth, they're going to block ways. That planning board, that zoning board, or whatever other board, they'll appoint the people to make sure you don't get what you want. So, yes, Sharia law is something that's within us as Muslims, and that's how we deal with it. But it has nothing to do with the government and their laws, because we still have to follow those as well.
I said that was the last, but this is going to be the last, because I heard from a reliable source that this brother here, Brother Jimmy Small, was very instrumental in establishing what has become the New Jersey Muslim Heritage Month in January. So if you could just talk about that a little bit, and we're going to start having planning meetings for that for those to get involved so we can start celebrating the history and heritage of Muslims in New Jersey?
That was a very unique situation. And what I mean by that, I talked about unity without uniformity. It was Muslims from many different backgrounds, many races, many organizations, and we decided to work together to get this. There's a sister named Jessica, I think she lives in Bergen County now, Latina sister. She got together with now Senator Angela McKnight and proposed some legislation. So we went over the legislation bit by bit by bit until we worked out a way to make everyone uh, accept it. And so when Angela McKnight brought it to the state assembly and the state senate, it passed unanimously in both houses at towards right after Ramadan in 2023, and we started doing it in, no, I'm sorry, 2022. We started doing it in 2023 and 2024. Um, I'm planning something in East Orange where I want to, and I want you to be a part of this. We want to have a imams forum, and perhaps to talk about the history of Islam in this area, maybe worldwide, because that's what it's about, Muslim Heritage Month. And people do different things all over the state. And New Jersey's not the only place, I might add. California is light years ahead of us. Um, no, I'm sorry. We're light years ahead. I'm thinking of reparations. They're light years ahead of us. New York, under the present governor, they passed it. But we also got to watch places. Maryland Assembly and State Senate passed it, but their governor, who happens to be African American, vetoed it. I don't know all the reasons why, but I'm quite sure there must have been some, maybe some in the law that wasn't right. But yes, set up things for Muslim Heritage Month. We need to plan things. We can do a taste of Islam or one. You can do a festival like as they had in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, or we can work together and rent out a one of these big convention centers. Where we have, there's a brother out of DC. He brought up something similar to the background right here, except his takes up a whole room. And it talked, and his thing talked about what was in the Muslim community, starting all the way back to Master Farad Muhammad to the present, and he covered everybody, all the different dimensions of the African American Muslim community, past and present. And other people did similar things as well. And that way, I think the Muslim Heritage Month is the one thing I think we as Muslims can work together, learn more about each other, and stop having our own bigotry towards each other. Because sometimes we say and do things about each other that's totally wrong. It should be La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah and leave it at that. If the people are not doing something haram, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Maybe you don't want to do that, but they're not doing anything wrong. So I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Anything you'd like to leave with us, contact information for the Muslim League of Voters and an event coming up, inshallah?
Okay, the Muslim League of Voters is having an event on October 19th from 5:30 to 8 at a place called Westside Community Center at Westside Park here in Newark. We will be celebrating our 40th anniversary. We have invited a number of elected officials and other people to come that will be speaking, and we're going to be honoring 8 people from the different eras of the Muslim League of Voters. We're going to be honoring the originals, people who were there at the beginning. Then we're going to honor that what I call the mid-range of people that came along. And then we have people that we started working with us in the last 2 or 3 years, but have brought their own unique picture to what the Muslim League of Voters should be about. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm an old head. I don't know all the things that younger people know, and that's why we're honoring them. We're going to be honored as well by Councilwoman / Reverend Louise Roundtree. If you haven't heard of her outside of New Jersey, she is fantastic. As she likes to say, how many people you know that can bring together Muslims, Christians, and Jews and all get along really, really well? That's her. So, and after that, the Muslim League of Voters is going to be working with, some other Muslim groups on November 17th. We're going to have Muslim Day of Advocacy in Trenton, where we're going to be going to meet different officials. Um, Namely, the one, even if they're lame duck, which meant they lost the election on November 4th, but we mainly want to meet the people that will be there, state senators and state assembly people. And there'll be other organizations from around the state that will be there too, that are going to be fighting for their issues. Then January, we're gonna have Muslim Heritage Month celebrations around the state. But we want to do something unique and do something here in our community because we haven't done enough. So that's what we're looking at. Then we have Ramadan. During Ramadan, we're going to I was talking to another group I'm involved with the African American brain study, and it's not Tuskegee or some of these other things you've heard about. This is to try to make people aware of what they do as they age, and it's for people over 60, and they pay you if you work within this. So if you're listening to this and you're over 60, especially, we beg. I think you need to take advantage of it. And then after that, right after we finish Muslim Heritage Month, is Black History Month. We'll be doing something there. And then then from that point on, we will be doing voter registration because next year we will have an election, school board election in April. You'll have municipal elections in May. Then we have primary elections in June. And then we go all the way back to November of 2026, where we will have elections for the United States Senate, the United States House of Representatives, which all 435 of them are up. And in some counties here in New Jersey, there will be elections for county committee people in June. So that's what we're looking forward to doing. And so you know how to contact us. Our website is at mlvnj.org. mlvnj.org. You can reach MLV at 973-580-4798. I want everyone to get involved with things that are available in your community, even stuff like Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, PTA. All of these are important. We also are going to be doing I almost forgot, a project to instruct our young people, our own little civics program, so they will know how to do things. It's nothing wrong with them being the president of their student council or student organization, and there's nothing wrong with them being that leader that other kids want to follow.
Absolutely. So again, we thank you all for joining us. We had a part one and a part two, and we're definitely going to bring it back again because again, this is one of the areas of our community concern that we are not attending to as much as we need to, and inshallah, it will help us all better and get to the goal that we need to get to. So we'll close one of our young scholars. Ahmad will come up and give us a dua, and I'll close out the live.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim ولا الضالين آمين.
Now, in concluding this, when the slave traders and the black traders of Africa, traitors, different, traitors, when the slave traders and the traitors of Africa called themselves Muslims, were fighting each other and carrying on and weakening their people over there so that the white traders come in there and get us, take us on slave ships and bring us here. Now, all right? Yeah. So now, when all that happened, What you think was happening to our human soul? Let me tell you, God has given me an eye to see into the very abstract form of the human being by my study of the Quran. Yes. Now, I'm going to tell you what was happening. I know, as if I was there. The soul of those victims had given up on this world. They knew they were going to their death. They knew they were going to circumstances that were going to finish them off. They would never have their lives again. They knew that. But in their soul, they were saying, our children will one day be free again, and they will serve God. We have failed, but our children will one day serve God. And now their prayer that they prayed in the deep recesses of their soul has come true. And not only of the descendants of the black people of Africa, from Islam coming to Islam, taking up the divine cause, but those who never were Muslims, their children from Christianity, their children from Judaism, their children from paganism are embracing Islam in America. And we are going to build new Africa. New Africa, right here in the United States. Allahu Akbar. And the soul of those suffering victims, they're rejoicing because of us here today.